home erupts this spring, prepare for the party with Bartesian. Order your Bartesian Big Game Bundle and save $50 plus free shipping. Shop now at bartesian.com/game. That's BARTESIAN.com/game. Bartesian, premium cocktails on demand.
When migraine strikes, you're faced with a choice. Ride it out with the trade-offs of treating or push through the pain and symptoms. With Ubrelvy or Ubrogepant, there's another option. Ubrelvy is a prescription medicine used to treat migraine attacks in adults and is not for prevention. One dose works fast to eliminate migraine pain. Most people had pain relief and some even had pain freedom within 2 hours. Treat it anytime, anywhere, without worrying where you are or if it's too late. People took Ubrelvy within 4 hours of a migraine attack.
Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors or if allergic to Ubrelvy. Allergic reactions can happen and may occur hours to days after use. Get medical help right away if you have swelling of the face, mouth, tongue, or throat, or trouble breathing. The most common side effects were nausea and sleepiness.
Ask your doctor about Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine. Find more product information at ubrelvy.com or call 844-4-UBR-ELVY. Sponsored by AbbVie.
816 KFYR 550 99.7, your free iHeart app, so you can listen all the way throughout South Dakota in case 550 is getting kind of weird on your radio. Crystal clear on iHeart. Good morning, Guns in the 701. Clay and Mike, how are you guys?
Doing good. How are you doing this morning, Todd?
Hey, doing fantastic. I was my heart was warmed earlier this week. Kid in Indiana, you may have seen this story. He had a big American flag in the back of his pickup. High school kid, right? And the school said, nope, can't have it. Cannot have it. So a graphics company offered to wrap his pickup in a huge, like, American flag looking thing. And it looks spectacular. And it's not like they can tell him he can't have the wrap on his vehicle. It's part of his vehicle.
If I remember right, that's the same story that a bunch of kids got together after they basically tried to expel this young man because he stood his ground. And everybody had a flag in their pickup. So I'm glad to hear that the company stepped up, even took it a step further.
Yeah, I mean, that is awesome. You know, and like if they've got incentive, because now as they show the pickup, their company names, on a backdrop there. So, I mean, they're getting, all the free plugs in the world. You see it. So. Right. But, I mean, what a cool move.
Heck yeah.
That is awesome. Take that, school.
I bet that boy is a Second Amendment supporter, too.
Amen, brother. It's the other reason I brought it up, is I bet he is. I don't know for a fact, but you got to believe. I just remember having to pledge allegiance to the flag when I went to school in public schools in Minneapolis. And what do we now, bury the flag and don't want it around, or what the heck?
No. It's insanity. It's the same people that try to infringe on our Constitution every single day.
Yeah, no kidding. Indoctrinate, not teach, and it's just crazy. Yeah. But so the Wyoming legislature moves to radically reduce state gun-free zones. First of all, I don't know. Have we not figured out gun-free zones are just a little too idyllic to be practical?
Well, Democrats don't seem to think so. At least in the fight in Wyoming. I love it. These two guys, I think it's Bouchard is how you pronounce his name, and Beitman, kind of an interesting name, Senator Beitman, basically kind of saying, bite me. To
Beitman.
I love it.
Beitman.
And they actually passed two bills. And it was a Senate bill, 109, and then the House bill, which is 125. And 125 is the one that strips the gun-free zones away. It includes everything. It will be a bill that prohibits any regulation by entities other than the legislature of the state of Wyoming. So the state of Wyoming is saying, we are a sovereign state, as it's supposed to be in our Constitution. The state functions over the feds. That's how it was designed. They're basically declaring that here. And it's going to basically prohibit any kind of jurisdiction by any other entity other than Wyoming, the sale, transfer, purchase, delivery, taxation, manufacture, ownership, transportation, storage, use, carrying or possessing of firearms, weapons, accessories, components, or ammunition, except as specifically provided by this chapter. Well, what that will do is it will get rid of the gun-free zone, the federal gun-free zones that were set up under the Clinton administration and then, of course, carried through. I mean, that is a bold statement telling the feds, get out of our state, quit infringing on our rights, quit infringing on our jurisdiction. I love it. I would love to see North Dakota's legislature and the so-called Republicans grow a pair and do the same right here next session, but I have very little hope that that'll happen. I think it's a great piece of legislation.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Sorry.
It's your show, Mitchell.
I jump in. Go. I
just jump in any old place. Yeah. It's out of the same playbook as Chapter 2. In fact, if you look, it's the same playbook about if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. Pretty much. I mean, we've seen it happen, haven't we? You're not going to get rid of them, and if you try to have a zone that's gun-free, sooner or later, you're just asking for trouble if it's a public place.
Absolutely. I mean,
soft target.
Yeah, it's a soft target, and people know this, and it's worked real well, hasn't it? Look how many shootings take place in these gun-free zones, including schools, but we've got malls that are gun-free zones, public gatherings, which we touched on last week in North Dakota about the public gathering law right here in North Dakota that essentially turns that into a gun-free zone and makes everybody there defenseless and a soft target. We need to change that right here in the state of North Dakota, and some states are getting it done. And I know I'm going to be pushing for it in the next session. I want that changed here in North Dakota. If I don't get it this year, we'll just keep hammering it away. That's how this works. You got to go through the process. But a gun-free zone creates a soft target and does absolutely nothing to protect anybody at all. It just makes you a soft target. Mike, you want to jump in on this?
Well, I remember our friend Eric on our show said it best. It says, if I'm there, it's not a gun-free zone. So, I mean, because I'm not going to be a target.
Speaking of creating soft targets, unrelated, well, semi-unrelated, but actually your gun-free zone at this point would be outside. Can we stop? I hope we've stopped having fire drills at schools. When's the last time you heard about a school burning down? But let's shove all the kids all at one time out a door and let them be targets. No, we need to stop that. Right?
Yeah. Imagine that. What a ploy that would be for a criminal, because that's what they are, that wants to inflict harm and kill as many people. Get somebody to pull the fire alarm inside the building.
Yep.
And then everybody leaves the building. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't have said that on air. Maybe we just gave someone
Well, no, but we've seen these radicals and nut jobs that do these shootings occasionally do things and set it up so that law enforcement and second responders, or first responders, will show up and, of course, make themselves targets by showing up, basically an ambush. So, I mean, it's one of those things. Talk about people that should be carrying. I talk about first responders aren't allowed to carry. But you know what? Of all the people that are on the front line, they're there before the cops are most of the time.
I don't say it to give criminals an idea. I say it to give school administrators and boards an idea of, let's
what they're doing.
Do the smart thing with our kids. Just guessing out loud here. Guns of the 701 here on KFYR 825. Anti-gun Democrats seek to undermine law passed to protect veterans' rights. Yeah, let's make sure we take guns out of the veterans' hands because they're not the most likely to be trained.
Nah, Crazy thought, right?
One of the things on this is that if you think about it, if they can deem you unworthy to possess a firearm just because you are no longer capable of taking care of your finances, or whatever dings their little thing, there are all kinds of competency things. Whether you are in charge of your medical decisions, or whether you are in charge of your finances anymore. If you're dinged on any of those, then you also get dinged on the fact that you can't own a firearm. So and that's going after our veterans. Sorry, somebody upstairs decided to flush the toilet, so all of a sudden I got noise in my background. But
well, you didn't want them to leave it alone, and then you'd be distracted another way. I mean, at least now the distraction's over, right?
That's right.
Needs a new studio.
I do.
So glad we had this discussion. But you know what? I'm just thinking, and maybe I'm just playing off of a movie stereotype or TV stereotype or something, but I'm thinking the average typical veteran, his or her ability with a gun is probably going to be intact after every other sense of being is lost. That is still going to be on the money. So I'm not worried about. Yeah. Heck, I know plenty of people who are not veterans and who supposedly have full faculties can't take their care of their finances worth a damn. So let's not let that be the litmus test.
Yeah, don't let them know that.
Related to the other.
Go after that too.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like I said, one's not related to the other. There's no way that you having problems managing your finances and seeking help from the VA and with your benefits, and then they deem that you can't, has nothing to do with your ability to actually possess and own and use a firearm and restrict your Second Amendment. And that's what they're trying to do. Interestingly, the Democrats themselves voted in this new little omnibus bill that's going through to basically put this in. That was put into that because it wanted to strip that regulation out of there, because by law already they can't do it. And it had to do with financing it, and they were voted for it, and of course, then they turned around and said, nope. You have this idiot, Representative Mike Thompson, a DemoRat out of California. He's the chairman of the so-called House Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. He sent a letter to the Secretary of the VA and basically said, hey, we want to do this, we want to strip this, and essentially they're going to inflict a red flag law on everybody in the VA system that comes for help for whatever reason, whether it's finance or anything. I know that's how they'll do it, and say, yep, that's also a way that you can't have your gun rights. That's wrong. It's a violation in itself, and it doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't.
Speaking of taking care of your finances, what would really help us take care of our finances? Stop taking our money.
Oh, well, yeah.
There you go.
If I had my money, I'd have better care of my finances. Quit taking my money.
Oh, and not just that. Quit making me rent my property from the state and get rid of property tax. I got to throw that in there.
There you go. Love it. Guns in the 701. We got more coming up. Will Mike's upstairs toilet be flushed again? Stay tuned.
The roar of the crowd. Thousands singing as one. Live music delivers happiness. Yellowtail Wine and iHeartRadio are teaming up this summer to create moments of happiness, spreading the joy of live music events across the country. And live events pair perfectly with Yellowtail Wines. Visit iHeartRadio.com/Yellowtail Wine for a chance to win tickets to the hottest concerts and try some delicious Yellowtail wine. Yellowtail is a registered trademark of Casella Wines. Copyright Deutsch Family Wine and Spirits, Stamford, Connecticut. Enjoy responsibly.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water?
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Save on Tide at Target with a Target gift card. Restrictions apply. Terms and conditions apply to gift cards. For details, go to help.target.com/help.
Mitchell in the morning. KFYR 550. Letting Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expire would hurt family farms and ranches. We'll talk about the tax initiatives coming up next on the Dakota Farm and Ranch Report.
Dominican University has me covered inside and outside the classroom with affordable tuition that includes housing, a laptop, and even a U-Pass. I'm set, so I can focus on what matters most. Dominican University, power your potential.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Fire. With the Dakota Farm and Ranch Report, I'm Scott Bachmeyer. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is a comprehensive tax cut package enacted back in 2017. Dustin Shearer, Director of Government Affairs for the American Farm Bureau, says that it's important legislation for farmers and ranchers.
It lowered taxes for most individuals as well as most businesses of every size and type, including farms and ranches. The legislation is important for farmers and ranchers because 98% of their operations are organized as pass-throughs, and there were specific provisions included in the bill that benefit pass-through businesses, including the broader brackets and lower rates, the enhanced estate tax exemption, and the 199A qualified business income deduction that drives more rate parity between the top rates that small businesses pay and the 21% corporate rate.
And a new Economic Research Service report shows that if the provisions expire, tax bills will increase for farmers and ranchers.
If nothing is done to extend them beyond 2025, farmers will face well over a $9 billion tax increase in 2026 between increased income tax liability and the increased estate tax liability. According to that report, the expiration of 199A alone would see certain farms' tax liability increase by up to 20%.
And he also says that knowledge about your own personal tax liabilities is a key process when advocating for reauthorization of these provisions.
Arm yourself with information. Do some research or talk to your CPA to understand how these various provisions of the tax code are benefiting your operation and how your operation is utilizing the savings from the provisions enacted by the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. And once you do that, talk to your elected officials, tell them your personal story, and tell them what the consequences would be if these options went away. Educating elected officials with personal stories is the best advocacy there is.
With the Dakota Farm and Ranch Report, I'm Scott Bachmeyer.
KFYR, your ag authority.
Out on your operation, you know the importance of planning ahead. But there still lies a scary field of unknowns, including costly nitrogen loss that can strike from any angle. But N-Edge Pro protects it on every level to fight nitrogen loss while giving your crops an advantage you'll notice come harvest. Protect your nitrogen above and below ground with N-Edge Pro from CHS. Learn more at chsagronomy.com/NEdgePro.
Cattle markets are up. Feed prices are down. What a great time to reinvest in your own herd and improve it with some good bulls. Hello, my name is Ben Ladone with L83 Ranch from West Hope, North Dakota. We will be hosting our 48th annual production sale on March 26th at Kiss Livestock in Mandan. We'll be selling 33 Red Angus and 2 Hereford bulls that are built with the commercial breeder's mindset. Ranch-ready, rugged, efficient, and growthy bulls that undergo intense selection process. Request a catalog or set up a tour at the ranch if you call myself, 701-201-0477. L83 Ranch, we are the brand you can trust.
KFYR.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley. This is Communism in America. Donald Trump posting on Truth Social with a deadline Monday for what he calls a crazy demand from a political hack judge to come up more than $450 million bond to appeal his New York real estate judgment. The Biden re-election campaign crowing they have 3 times the cash on hand as Trump for re-election. But his approval numbers making President Biden vulnerable to a third-party candidate, RFK Jr., who's set to launch a Latino outreach, Viva Kennedy, echoing his uncle, President JFK. A crowd of 300 migrants barrel through razor wire and National Guard troops at El Paso.
Several soldiers were assaulted. We did make several arrests for that, and there is more arrests and more charges to come. But that clearly shows, Laura, that we need to have consequences.
Texas DPS Lieutenant Chris Oliveras on Fox's The Ingram Angle. America's listening to Fox News.
And now, from North Dakota's News Authority, Jesse Rostvent, KFYR Radio News.
Good morning. It's 8:34 here at KFYR. Right now in Bismarck, 19 degrees. Cooler temperatures forecast to end the work week. Highs ranging from the lower 20s in the north to the 30s, lower 40s further south. More intense round of winter weather expected over the weekend across much of the northern plains and upper Midwest, with potential to disrupt travel for many, as travel disruptions likely resulting from heavy snowfall and strong winds. Winter storm watch will be issued for much of the region later tomorrow through Monday morning. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum discussing Biden administration's green energy policies on Fox News this week.
They called this an ambitious plan to try to move their climate agenda forward. But the only ambition I've seen out of the last 3 years of the Biden administration is ambition that says we're going to kill the U.S. auto industry as we know it. We're going to kill the U.S. liquid fuels. That includes oil and gas and all renewables and biofuels. And we're going to envision a future that is all EVs. And they're doing this through taking your taxpayer dollars, subsidizing 500,000 EV charging stations. They're subsidizing the purchase of EV cars at a time when, after we spent 40 years getting out from underneath OPEC to actually generate energy here in the United States, and then we're going to be dependent on and enslaved to a future with China where they control 85% of the rare earth minerals that go into these batteries. And then at the same time, Neil, you can't get a power line permitted. Ask even a Democrat governor. You can't get a power line permit in this country. And then the EPA is shutting down baseload. So I don't know where the power is going to come from all these EVs they're mandating and subsidizing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where we know where the batteries are coming from, China, but I don't know where the power is coming from. So this whole thing, it doesn't match physics. It doesn't match economics. Their energy policy is like it was written by Russia and China.
February airline boardings are up over the last year. Minot International Airport officials saying increase of over 22% due to the new Allegiant flights to Orlando. Flights are filled to nearly 97% capacity, and last month alone brought in an additional 1,400 passengers. Statewide boardings increased by 10% in February of 24 compared to last year, with about 9,000 more boardings last month. 8:37 here at KFYR. Take a look at the AccuWeather forecast coming up.
The Jorgensen Top Cut Bull Sale is...
Ridiculous fees, robocalls, customer service that's lacking the actual service. It sounds like you might be getting bullied by your bank. You don't have to settle. At Wintrust, we take a different approach. Whether you need banking solutions, a new home, or help planning your financial future, Wintrust has local experts ready to lend a hand. Stop banking the same way, expecting different results, and start banking where you matter at wintrust.com/bully-free. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Dominican University's Chicago campus is the perfect choice for me. I get to live and learn in mi comunidad with one-on-one support and career coaching, all with my cohort who have become like family.
Introducing Dominican University's Chicago campus, an innovative living and learning community in the heart of Pilsen. Our 2-year associate degree program sets you up for success in high-demand fields. Your path to success starts here. Abre Camino. Visit dom.edu/associate.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess? Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Here is your AccuWeather forecast. Today we'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds. It'll be chilly with a high only 31. Cloudy skies tonight and cold. We're going down to 16. Tomorrow, some snow at times. It'll be breezy in the afternoon. Another cold day with a high 27. Know how it really feels outside with AccuWeather's real field temperature. Download our free app or visit AccuWeather.com. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Rose Tamburino.
Yesterday's high in Bismarck, 25. The low, 18. Average high and low this time of year, 44 and 22. Record high of 81 set on this day in 1910. The record low, 18 below, set in 1899. Sunset tonight, 7:59. Sunrise tomorrow morning, 7:39. Winter storm watch again will be in effect tomorrow evening through Monday afternoon, with heavy snow possible. Could accumulate between 6 and 12 inches, and winds gusting up near 50 miles per hour for portions of south central and southeastern North Dakota. Right now in Bismarck, cloudy sky, light breeze out of the north, 19 degrees, feels like 11. I'm Jesse Rostvat, KFYR Radio, your news and weather authority.
Back to guns in the 701 just a moment. The Twins game against Atlanta has been canceled for today. Inclement weather. Does that, Jesse, mean that if it's good weather, it's clement weather, not inclement?
Could be.
I just never really thought about that.
It's
before.
more than a baked potato. It's a baked potato with toppings. Check the selection at Scotty's 21st and Broadway.
You want to grow your business, but how much? And is your operation ready for it? You want to break into a new market, but how? And when? Work with a banker who understands where you want to go with your business and how to help you get there. Work with Bremer Bank, because understanding is everything. Put us to work for you today at bremer.com.
Let Custom Grain and Seed assist you in planning for the next crop season. We offer a full range of seed products from leading brands that include wheat, corn, soybeans, canola, pulse crops, sunflowers, flax, and also forage and cover crops, all suited to this region and your farm. Competitive financing starting as low as 0%. From planning to planting, count on Custom Grain and Seed, your trusted seed advisors. To find a dealer near you, visit CustomGrainSeed.com.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Stop smoking. Lose weight now without cravings, irritability, or your money back. Only $49.99 guaranteed. Join Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar and lose weight, stop smoking, feel great for only $49.99 guaranteed. Wednesday, March 27th at the Holiday Inn, Bismarck. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Registration 5 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Registration 7:30 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
KFYR coming up on 8:42, 18 before 9. It's Dakota Mornings and Michael Bell after 9. Meanwhile, guns in the 701. Time to end the federal medical marijuana and gun ban.
Absolutely. Yeah, so if anybody doesn't know, when you fill out your Form 4473 when you're purchasing a firearm, which also puts you through the NICS background check system, there's a spot on there where you have to answer if you are a user of drugs, controlled substances, I forget whatever else. If you answer yes, as a lot of people should, then of course you're going to be denied a firearm purchase. If you answer no, like Hunter Biden did, well, you break the law, but you don't get in trouble if you're Hunter. So anyway, that's kind of where this is going, is that marijuana is still considered a controlled substance under the United States Code 18, and it basically regulates everything, including marijuana, as far as controlled substances. So essentially, even if you have a medical marijuana card, which a lot of people do in a lot of states, we're just talking about Wyoming, taking and stripping out federal regulation now, which I think is a good idea. This would relate to it. So Second Amendment Foundation, they now have two plaintiffs that have filed a federal lawsuit that are challenging this ban for people who have a medical marijuana card, is essentially what this is coming down to. It's filed in a U.S. District Court in the Western District of Pennsylvania, so this is going to play out in Pennsylvania. The Second Amendment Foundation, they're joined by the Warren County, Pennsylvania District Attorney Robert Green, who has served in the office since 2013 and has right now a medical marijuana ID card, which is interesting that you have an actual district attorney with this card, and they've signed on to basically make this fight. Then you got James Erie, a veteran who has been recommended the medical marijuana card, but has refrained from getting it, kind of piggybacking off our last segment of a veteran who probably needs this or wants it for medical reasons, and he's afraid to get it because he thinks that he will be then denied his Second Amendment rights, and he probably would on twofold. First, because of what's going on in the VA and the push, and then, of course, the federal law. And, of course, who know who the defendants are. Attorney General Merrick Garland, the FBI, Director Christopher Ray and ATF Director Stephen Dettelbach, who's a complete moron. We just saw some videos of him and his supposed gun expert not be able to take guns apart properly, but he's a gun expert. So that's the guys that are being sued in this. And, it's I think it's time. Mike, go ahead and jump in.
Well, basically, it comes down to the fact that, you go off to war, now you're afraid of fireworks and you want to take a gummy, and you're not allowed. I mean, you can't medicate. I mean, if we take out everybody who's medicated here in the United States, my goodness, I mean, think about the pharmaceuticals that are pushed at us every single day. I mean, where does that end? I mean, it just is, it's a total misnomer. We're looking at one more way to help people deal with things throughout the day in order to get through, force whatever. And they're just trying to infringe more upon our rights by going the end around.
Oh, absolutely. And when you look at controlled substances, okay, everyone thinks illegal drugs or illicit drugs, which that is covered under this. I know that there have been people that have been denied of basically a purchase because they answered yes because they were actually on some sort of painkiller, be it morphine or something else, which is a controlled substance, illegal to have without a prescription. It kind of falls in the same venue as marijuana now, as a medically controlled substance that's used in medical purposes. So I get why this lawsuit's coming. This could have implications far-reaching. They're also basing it on the Heller and Bruin decisions, which probably should historical use. Well, is it a stretch? I don't know. We're going to find out in court because that's what they're going to go ahead and put on there as their defense on this. And I you know what, marijuana has been around probably probably longer than most things. Is it? Do I do it? No. Do I know people that have? Yes. Do I know people that have medical marijuana cards? Yes. And I can tell you this right now, with those cards and with the use that they're doing, I've seen where there's no reason to deny those people their Second Amendment rights because they're seeking medical treatment, and that's what we're talking about here.
Guns of the 701 on KFYR here, 846. How long before somebody decides that if you've had a DUI, you shouldn't be able to shoot, or at least you'll have to have... they have ignition interlocks for cars, right, where you got to breathe into it or it's not going to start. How long before they have that for your gun?
I don't want to breathe into my gun to make it fire.
Yeah, can you imagine that? I mean, the technology probably isn't there yet, but can you imagine that? It does exist on cars. Do you remember the smart gun thing here a few years ago, Todd, where they wanted you to be able to implement something where if you didn't have your fingerprint keyed up to your hand grip, which it just was a stupid idea, then because it couldn't be fired, then you couldn't buy the gun. It's like the technology at best is in the beginning stages, and it doesn't exist, and I don't want it. So, yeah.
Well, it exists in Hollywood. That's what it is. It exists in Hollywood and on the editing table.
Yeah.
Are you saying we just need to get Alec Baldwin on the... Poor guy.
Oh, I think that's the wrong choice.
Poor guy, no, right? That was terrible. I'm sorry. That was horrible.
It can be your gun safety. It can be your gun safety lecture guy when you bring him in as a speaker. He can talk all about gun safety, right? Alec Baldwin.
Right.
Exactly.
Alec Baldwin.
Gun banners step up programming of TV and movie. Well, here's an interesting segue, right? Let's, as long as we brought up Alec Baldwin, we'll just segue right into this, right? Gun banners step up programming of TV and movie audiences with hashtag Show Gun Safety campaign. Oh, boy.
Well, what they want to do is they're pushing, of course, the gun safety thing in cop shows and TV shows and all that, and it's fine. But again, it's showing they'll show that only police officers should have guns, is what they're saying in a lot of these things. I mean, CBS and ABC have got their full share of Chicago cop shows, and who you watch those shows and you watch them break the laws left and right. And everything else, and then all of a sudden they're the moral society that's going to teach you how to put your guns away safely. That always baffles me.
Hey, how come they don't have that show yet where in the high crime inner city neighborhood they send out social workers instead of police officers because they're defunding the police? Where's that TV show?
Yeah,
we're just going to call that urban survival. survivor. Instead of sending them to islands.
Survivor.
Yeah, instead of sending them to islands somewhere where they try to find food, we send them into the inner cities and unarmed and try to talk people.
Exactly. You got Chicago Fire and Chicago Police, Chicago social worker. He takes his clipboard into the hood. Will he come out alive and make the world a better place? Are we going to be better off because finally we get... Well, Chicago might be a little bit better to get rid of the guns, but that's kind of a different thing. But
yeah, they got a total count every day.
People that got guns don't get them. Once they go and get arrested, they end up out of jail in no time and back on the streets. Whereas if it was me or you, a legal gun owner, and defending our rights, we'd be looking at jail time and making an example of us, trying to stick us in jail for as long as possible just for protecting ourselves. There's a total difference in Chicago and those major cities, the way they portray the criminals and the way they portray normal people. But yeah, they absolutely make examples of law-abiding citizens. And I remember the story about the girl who drove from New York on the bypass of the highway, and it cut into New Jersey. And as she was doing her bypass, and of course she was a legal gun owner in New York, but because she was in New Jersey, it broke the law that she was just on the highway. And they tried to send her away for a long time, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. It's just foolish.
Well, one thing I got to point out with this whole campaign is it does not surprise me that it's coming from the Brady campaign, which now they've rebranded themselves. I think they call themselves Brady United because they used to be Handgun Control Incorporated. They just keep changing their name and changing their narrative. They're pushing this. They're pushing the whole thing that we lose 8 kids a day in the country to this epidemic, and it's because of firearms in the home. It's not true, but they want this portrayed in the shows. Interestingly, CBS is on board with this, who also owns Paramount, and Paramount they're together now. And Paramount, if I remember right, don't they have this little show out there called Yellowstone, where let's just say that they're using guns all the time to portray the things that they are against, supposedly, at the Brady campaign. And then I did pull up the list. I don't recognize most of these jerks because I don't watch a lot of modern shows anymore, but I did notice Ted Danson's on there, Jimmy Kimmel and all of his writers, Mark Ruffalo. We remember him. He flew out here during that little thing called DAPL to raise some hell, and of course was a moron when he was here.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean, it does not. But he didn't stay. He just
flew out there.
The same reason I quit listening to the Dave Matthews Band because, it's
mess that up.
Halfway decent musician, but, I just can't stomach anymore because of what they did. But that's just me. But I had. I got it. You made me think of that now, and now I lost my other train. Oh, Yellowstone. Okay, here's the irony. I said train of thought, and that's what put it back into my head. You guys are familiar with Yellowstone, right? You guys have seen it.
Oh yeah.
Nope, never seen an episode.
You've never seen it. Okay. I gotta do one slight spoiler then otherwise this isn't gonna mean a thing. But Mike, you'll get it. One thing that they also portray on that show that I would think gun people would freak out about, the train station.
Oh yeah.
The place where they dispose the body. Because there's nobody that lives in that county. There's no seat of government. There's no anybody to bring. Oh yeah, there's a heck of a nice cliff. Heck of a nice cliff for disposal, but yeah. So we're all worried about gun safety, but we're okay with throwing humans off of a cliff. That's okay.
That's not.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, no problem there.
Is that fall in the Clement category or the inclement?
Yeah.
Hey, Clay, Texter wants to know, will Clay ever open up and tell us how he really feels?
Someday. Nice. Love it. Yeah, we should start taking calls maybe during this. We'll have to see. Anyway.
Yeah. Goes to the 701. When's the new stuff hit?
Well, this will actually hit our website and our podcasting on iHeart and every place else, and probably within the next 10-15 minutes when I get it downloaded. Otherwise, Wednesday night, 6:00 p.m. Mountain Time, 7:00 Central Time. Catch us at gunsonthe701.com or any of our social platforms that we're on. And, of course, never forget, best iHeart podcast out there, right there on your iHeart platform. You can find us each and every day along with KFYR.
Not only the best podcast on iHeart, but it's the official show of the train station on Yellowstone.
There we go.
Get the cease and desist from Paramount. You can't claim that. I just did. Hey, guys, thanks. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Thank you, man.
Remember, put the gun away and get a clipboard. Can't believe I said that either. Thanks a lot. 8:55. Happy second birthday coming up tomorrow for Shaney Bauman of Golden Valley. It'll be 2 tomorrow. Keenan Meininger of Mandan, 44 today. Patrick O'Neill of Driscoll. The old Irish Coot